911, I have a black male in the lobby asking too many questions. He refuses to leave.
I only asked about the fee waiver. Twice.
That's the problem, boy.
The man sets his portfolio down.
You ask too many questions.
I am sorry. I'll wait.
Sit down. The police are coming.
9:13 in the morning. Mint floor polish. A thin counter beep. The branch manager steps out of her office. She glances at her tablet. She looks at the man. She looks at the tablet again. Her face goes pale. She has just realized who he is. The teller has not. If you believe a receipt beats a rumor, stay with me. The second question is still hanging in the air. I watched that exchange 3 times before I could sit down and write it. I'm Kane Uncovers. I dig up the stories that powerful people bury on purpose. And the man she called boy, he didn't just walk into that branch by accident. He walked in for a reason. And I'm going to tell you that reason before the sirens arrive. 6:42 in the morning. A porcelain cup on a kitchen island. A folded newspaper no one has opened. Malcolm Turner stirs his coffee once and sets the spoon down without a sound. He is 52 years old. He wears a blue jacket he has owned for a decade. His hair is cut close. His shoes are polished, but not new. His hands are steady. They have been steady for a long time. On the wall, a framed photograph. His wife, gone 4 years now. A daughter, Alicia, smiling at a graduation she insisted on small. A second photograph beside it, Malcolm and his wife on a porch in Cleveland, 1998, before any of this, before the bank, before the branches. He looks at both photographs every morning. He does not dust them. Alicia does that when she visits. Malcolm carries a leather portfolio with 3 things inside: a notebook, a pen, a single typed page. The page is his personal inspection memo. 1 paragraph, 3 bullet points. No corporate jargon. Walk as a customer. Listen as an owner. Write down everything that sounds wrong. He has done this once a month for 11 years. 83 branches. No warning, no escort, no appointment. He drives himself. He parks 2 blocks away. He walks in cold. His company owns First Heritage Bank. He is the majority shareholder. The employees know his name from a framed portrait in the corporate lobby. They do not know his face from the line on a Tuesday morning. That is by design. Today's branch is Westerville, Ohio, a well-off suburb outside Columbus, a corner building with brass door handles and a revolving door that thuds softly when it turns. Malcolm has never liked being called sir by people who haven't looked at his face. He learned that phrase from his father, who laid brick for 40 years in Akron. His father used to say you can tell everything about a man by how he speaks to a stranger he thinks can do nothing for him. He drives the speed limit. He listens to news radio with the volume low. He parks on a side street, feeds the meter, and walks the last 2 blocks with his portfolio tucked against his chest. The September air smells of cut grass and something warmer. A bakery 3 doors down. A woman pushes a stroller past him. She doesn't look up. Neither does he. A man in a jogging jacket waves at someone across the street. Malcolm adjusts his grip on the portfolio. He reaches the revolving door. He holds it for a young courier carrying a cardboard tube. The courier says, "Thanks, sir." Malcolm nods. Inside, the lobby is warm. Fluorescent tubes hum. The air carries mint floor polish and cooled coffee from a carafe near the deposit slips. A security guard at the far wall nods without standing up. Malcolm nods back. 4 windows open, 3 tellers at their stations. An older gentleman at window 4 counting $20 bills into a deposit slip. A retired schoolteacher at window 2 signing a withdrawal. Malcolm takes a number, 71. He sits in a vinyl chair near the pamphlet rack. He reads none of the pamphlets. He listens. He listens to the thin beep of a counter terminal. He listens to the soft click of a stapler. He listens to a teller at window 1, a younger woman with blonde hair pulled back, name tag reading Heather B. Tell the schoolteacher pleasantly that her withdrawal is processed. Her voice is warm. A minute later, the schoolteacher leaves. The older gentleman finishes. Malcolm's number flashes above window 1. He stands. He walks to the window. He sets his portfolio down. Heather B. looks up. Her smile does not reach her eyes. Something in her face shifts before he opens his mouth. "Good morning," Malcolm says. "I have a question about the small business checking account, the one with the tiered monthly fee." Heather doesn't answer right away. She looks at his jacket. She looks at his portfolio. She looks back at his face and her smile flattens. "What about it?" "Your website says there's a fee waiver if the daily balance stays above a certain threshold. I wanted to ask how that threshold is measured. Calendar month or rolling 30 days? She blinks. Once. Calendar month. "Thank you." Malcolm writes it down in his notebook. "One more, if you don't mind. For a nonprofit with variable monthly income, is there a flexibility clause? Something in the terms that allows a grace period before the fee applies?" Her hand drifts off the keyboard. "Why are you asking?" "I'm considering opening an account for an organization I work with." "What organization?" "A small community nonprofit." "Name?" Malcolm smiles, tight and polite. "Ma'am, is the grace period answer something you can look up, or should I come back another time?" Her eyes flick down. Once. Under the keyboard, a laminated card, white stock, printed list. The top line reads, "Risk Behavior Cues, Desk Reference." She reads from it without appearing to read. Malcolm can tell. He's been reading faces across counters for 30 years. "I'm going to need to see identification before I can continue this conversation." "Ma'am, I'm asking a question about a product on your website. I'm not opening an account today." "Policy," she says. "ID." He pulls out his wallet. He hands her his driver's license. She takes it with 2 fingers as if it might be warm. She turns it over. She turns it over again. She does not type anything into her terminal. "I'll be right back." She stands and walks to the back counter, out of his line of sight. She's gone for 40 seconds. Malcolm waits. He does not check his phone. He does not look around for a manager. He watches the laminated card through the gap in her workstation and notes the bullet points he can read upside down. Multiple questions on account policy. Reluctance to identify self. Inconsistent answers. She comes back. She does not return the license. She sets it face down on her side of the counter. "Sir, I'm going to need you to step away from the window." "I'd like my license back, please." "Sir." "Ma'am, my ID, please." "The police are going to want to see it." Malcolm's voice does not change. It does not go up. It does not go down. "You're calling the police because I asked a question about a fee waiver." "I'm calling the police because your behavior is consistent with suspicious activity." "What behavior?" "Asking too many questions." She picks up the phone. Her finger hovers over the 3 digits. Her eyes go to the laminated card one more time. Then she dials. The lobby has gone quiet. The older gentleman at window 4 has stopped counting. The schoolteacher, who was halfway out the door, stops and turns around. A young woman near the pamphlet rack stops pretending to read. A toddler in a stroller stares without blinking. Malcolm sits down in the nearest chair, as she told him to, with his hands flat on his thighs and his portfolio on the floor beside him. He closes his eyes for one breath. He opens them. Behind the glass of window 4, a small security camera blinks red. He notes the angle. He notes the timestamp on the wall clock. 9:11 in the morning. Somewhere inside the branch, his driver's license sits face down on a teller's counter. Somewhere inside the building, his photograph hangs on a wall he has not yet walked past. Somewhere above him, a fluorescent tube hums. A police cruiser pulls into the parking lot at 9:19. 2 officers step through the revolving door. The younger one, Hayes, has her hand near her belt. The older one, Reed, walks ahead with his hands loose and his eyes scanning the lobby in a slow arc. Heather points, not subtly, her whole arm. "That's him. He refuses to leave. He's been asking questions he shouldn't be asking." Reed's eyes find Malcolm. Malcolm is still sitting, hands on thighs, portfolio at his feet. "Sir," Reed says, quiet, professional. "I'm Officer Reed. Would you stand up slowly and step toward the window, please? Yes, officer. Malcolm stands. He moves the way a man moves when he has been through this before. 1 step. Pause. 2 steps. Hands open, away from his sides. He has rehearsed this motion since he was 17 years old, and he has rehearsed it because it has saved his life twice. Sir, do you have identification on you? The teller has it. Reed turns his head toward Heather without taking his eyes off Malcolm. Ma'am, his ID, please. Heather slides the license across the counter. Reed picks it up with 2 fingers. He looks at it. He looks at Malcolm. Something passes across his face. He is trying to place the name. He cannot. Not yet. Mr. Turner, can you tell me what happened this morning? I asked a question about a small business account. She asked for my ID. I gave it to her. She called you. Behind Reed, Officer Hayes mutters something to him, too low for the lobby to hear. Reed's jaw tightens. Officer Hayes, Reed says, calm, without turning. Step back, please. She does, half a foot. Reed pitches his voice toward Heather now, but the whole lobby can hear it. Ma'am, what specifically was the threat? He wouldn't answer my questions. He kept asking about fee structures. He had a folder. A folder. Yes. Ma'am, I need you to say out loud on my body camera what crime you are alleging. Suspicious activity. Policy. There's a card. Reed blinks once. A card. She doesn't answer. From window 4, the older gentleman clears his throat. Officer, I've been in this branch 3 times a week for 40 years. That man has not said one rude thing since he walked in the door. He's been nothing but polite. His name, the schoolteacher would later tell a reporter, turns out to be Mr. Delaney. Mrs. Delaney is sitting on a bench near the pamphlet rack with her purse in her lap. She raises her hand like a student. I'd like to say something too, officer. Ma'am, we'll take statements in a moment. Thank you. Reed turns back to Malcolm. He hands the license back, face up, with 2 hands. A small gesture, but the lobby sees it. Mr. Turner, I'm sorry for the inconvenience. You're free to go whenever you like. I'd like to stay, officer, if you don't mind. Sir? I'd like to see what happens next. Reed opens his mouth, closes it. Behind him, Hayes mutters again, low, but this time loud enough for the front of the lobby to catch 3 words. We've been here before. Malcolm hears it. He files it. He does not turn his head. He does not raise an eyebrow. He lets the sentence sit in the air like a receipt that has just printed itself. At that exact moment, 20 feet away, the door to the branch manager's office opens. Rebecca Moore steps out. 41 years old. Cream blouse. Tablet tucked under one arm. She is expecting a routine Tuesday. She sees the officers. She sees her teller, red-faced, behind the counter. She sees a black man in a blue jacket standing calmly in the middle of her lobby. Her tablet vibrates against her arm. The morning calendar notification, set 15 minutes ago, fires a second time. She glances at it. 1 line of text, white on blue. She reads it once. She reads it twice. Her face changes in slow motion. The lobby sees it. Reed sees it. Hayes sees it. Malcolm sees it. Rebecca Moore opens her mouth to speak, and no sound comes out. Rebecca Moore looks at her tablet. She looks at the man in the blue jacket. She looks at the tablet again. Her cheeks go cold in 3 seconds. It happens in order. First, her hands. She feels the weight of the tablet change, even though the tablet has not changed. Then, her throat. A tightness, high, like the start of a cough she can't finish. Then, her cheeks. The blood leaves them from the bottom up. She tries to say his name, and her mouth moves without sound. She tries again. Mr. Turner. It is not loud. It is clear. The lobby does not know who Mr. Turner is. Not yet. But the lobby knows the sound of a branch manager's voice when it has just made a very expensive mistake. The school teacher stops breathing for a second. The toddler in the stroller turns to look. She takes 1 step toward him. Her tablet is still in her hand. The screen glows against her blouse. Anyone standing close enough can read the single line of text. Monthly walkthrough, M. Turner, Westerville, 9 a.m. Malcolm's expression does not change. Ms. Moore. Mr. Turner, I am so sorry. I did not know. I did not. Please continue what you were doing, Ms. Moore. I would like to see what happens next. His voice is level, not cold, not warm, level. Officer Reed catches the last name first. He glances at the driver's license, still warm in his hand. Malcolm A. Turner. He has seen that name on a building on High Street, on a tower in downtown Columbus, on a plaque in the lobby of a city fundraiser he worked security at last spring. His notebook lowers. He does not put it away. He lowers it. Officer Hayes takes a small automatic step backward. The lobby registers the motion. Bodies shift in their chairs. A man near the door stands up without meaning to. A woman by the pamphlet rack reaches into her purse, not for anything in particular, just to have something to do with her hands. Heather, behind the counter, finally looks up from her screen. She looks at Moore. She looks at Turner. She looks at the officers. Her face does not go pale. It goes still. And the listener has the right to hear it named. Not fear, not shame. Calculation. She is already rehearsing the words "I was following protocol." Mrs. Delaney, on the bench, folds her hands tighter around her purse. Her husband, at window 4, sets his deposit slip down and does not pick it up. Malcolm walks to the counter. He does not rush. He picks up his portfolio from the floor where he set it down 20 minutes ago. He tucks it against his chest the way he carried it through the door. He turns to Rebecca Moore, polite, quiet. Ms. Moore, I would like to ask you 3 questions in your office. Please bring Ms. Bishop with you, and Officer Reed, if he has a moment. Yes, of course. He turns back to the lobby. One slow pass of the room. He does not smile. He does not glare. He simply looks at each face in turn. The schoolteacher, Mr. Delaney at window 4, Mrs. Delaney on the bench, the young man who stood up without meaning to, and he nods, once, to each of them. Thank you for waiting with me. Then he walks toward the branch manager's office, as if he has walked into it 100 times, which, as a matter of fact, he has. He does not need the room to know. The room already knows. Inside the office, the door clicks shut, and the real morning begins. 22 hours later. Not corporate headquarters. A diner off Route 3, 12 minutes from the branch. Green vinyl booths. A waitress who calls everyone Hun. A window that looks out at a gas station sign. Malcolm sits with his back to the window. Across from him, a woman in a charcoal cardigan slides into the booth and places a manila folder on the table between them. Her name is Claire Anderson. She is 39 years old. She is the regional compliance officer for First Heritage, and she has been waiting for this meeting for 19 weeks. Mr. Turner, thank you for coming. Thank you for reaching out. I didn't reach out. You did. I know. Thank you anyway. She almost smiles. She doesn't. She opens the folder. What you saw yesterday was not a mistake. It was a pattern. I've been tracking it since February. The first page is a bar chart. 11 branches, 6 quarters. Filing volume of suspicious activity reports, SARs, the federal form banks submit when they believe a transaction warrants investigation. 8 branches sit at a flat, normal rate. 3 branches spike. Westerville is the highest. 256 filings at Westerville alone in the last 6 quarters, Claire says. The national average for a branch this size is under 60. We are, as a single branch, generating more than 4 times the expected volume. That is not diligence. That is production. She turns the page. Second receipt. Loan denials. Same 3 branches. Cross-referenced with the demographic composition of the zip code tracts the applicants come from. I had to request this twice through legal. The skew is not small. It is not explainable by credit score alone. I have checked. Malcolm reads. He does not interrupt. Third receipt. This one took me 4 months to find. She slides a memo across the table. A single page. Inter-office letterhead. No signature at the bottom. Only a department stamp. The header reads, Alert Productivity Standard, Pilot Program Guidance. The body is polite, corporate, almost bureaucratic. It establishes a quarterly minimum number of SAR filings per branch. It ties branch bonuses to exceeding the minimum. It calls the program a proactive fraud prevention posture. Malcolm reads it twice. He does not speak for 38 seconds. Claire counts because she has waited 19 weeks and she can wait one more minute. Who signed it? No one signed it. The program was rolled out verbally through regional leadership. The memo is internal reference only. Who rolled it out verbally? Gregory Walsh's office. Malcolm nods once. There's something else, Mr. Turner. I want you to know before you decide anything. She turns to the last page in the folder, a printed email chain. The sender's name is Rebecca Moore. The subject line is Compliance Concern, Westerville Branch, Escalation Request. Moore sent it 7 months ago. She sent a follow-up 3 months after that. Both emails were answered by Walsh's office with identical 2-line replies. Acknowledged. No action required at this time. Malcolm looks at the email for a long time. She was the first person to flag this. Yes, and she was ignored. Yes. And then yesterday, when I walked in, she was the manager on duty when her own teller did what she had been warning about for 7 months. Yes. He closes the folder. He slides it back across the table. I need copies. Already made. They're in your car. How? Your driver. I don't have a driver. You do for the next 3 weeks. His name is on a slip under your windshield wiper. He's ex-federal. He's discreet. He works for me. Malcolm almost smiles. He doesn't. Ms. Anderson, who knows you're doing this? 2 people, you and my sister. If I'm wrong about this, I lose my job, my license, and my pension. If I'm right, I still might lose all 3. Why are you doing it anyway? Because my mother used to cash her disability checks at a branch that did the same thing to her. She was asked for ID 4 times in one transaction. The last time, she walked out crying. I was 11. I promised her I would never work somewhere like that. I broke the promise. I'd like to unbreak it. Malcolm looks at her across the table for a long moment. The waitress refills both coffees. Neither of them touches the cups. We're going to need a reporter. I've already picked one. Jonathan Brooks, Ohio Ledger. He's skeptical, he's thorough, and he hates being lied to. Call him tonight. Tell him I want him to verify everything independently. Do not take my word for any of it. Yes, sir. Claire. Yes? If you've been sitting on this for 19 weeks, why now? She pauses. She looks at her hands. She looks back up. Because yesterday was the first time the person at the counter could afford a lawyer. I am not proud of that sentence. I am telling it to you anyway. Malcolm closes his eyes for one breath, opens them. Outside the window, the gas station sign flickers once. The waitress sets the check down without looking at either of them. He tips her in cash before he leaves, and he tips her well. If you've been told once in your life that your questions were too many, stay with me. The next page is where the quiet gets answered. Somewhere inside the bank, someone is about to find out that Turner has seen the memo. I have to pause here. That folder Claire just slid across the table, its shape isn't fiction. Federal studies, branch-level SAR filings, disparate enforcement. They read, almost word for word, like the memo she just showed him. This isn't a story someone made up. This is a story someone recognized. And the woman most of you are going to want to blame later, Moore. She's the one who spoke first. Remember that. That night at 9:14 p.m., a company-wide email lands in every First Heritage inbox. The sender is Gregory Walsh, chair of the board. Subject line, Unified Messaging, Westerville Incident. The body is 3 paragraphs. Paragraph 1 describes yesterday's encounter as an unfortunate misunderstanding between a customer and a junior teller. Paragraph 2 instructs all employees to refer media inquiries to legal. Paragraph 3, the shortest, reminds employees that the board takes compliance seriously and will not tolerate opportunistic characterizations of our fraud prevention program. The email does not mention Malcolm Turner by name. The email does not mention that the customer in paragraph 1 owns the company. By 10 p.m., a local opinion blog publishes a piece titled "The Other Side of the Westerville Story." Anonymous sourcing. One paragraph suggests the customer was erratic. Another suggests he was unknown to the branch. Technically true and technically misleading. The blog post earns 112 shares in 90 minutes. By morning, a mid-tier cable show picks up 2 sentences of it and runs a segment that lasts 4 minutes before the anchor changes topic. At 8:19 p.m. the same night, Rebecca Moore's phone rings. "Rebecca, it's Greg Walsh." "Yes, sir. How are you holding up?" "I'm fine." "Good. I wanted to check in. Your year-end performance review is next month. I want you to feel supported." "Thank you, sir." "Rebecca." "Yes, sir. You and I both know how easy it is, in situations like this, for a well-meaning manager to feel she needs to rewrite history. Don't rewrite anything. Stay on message. I'm counting on you." "Understood, sir." She hangs up. She sits at her kitchen table for a long time with her phone face down in front of her. She does not cry. She opens a new email. She types the words, "Mr. Turner, I would like to speak with you about my prior escalations." She saves it as a draft. She does not send it. Not yet. Across town, Claire arrives home to find a black sedan parked across the street from her house with its engine off. She notes the plates. She calls a contact at the sheriff's office and asks, casually, whether they can run a courtesy check. They can. The plates come back to a private investigation firm out of Cincinnati. She does not confront the car. She closes her blinds. She does not turn on the living room light. At 11:06 the next morning, a courier delivers a thick envelope to Claire Anderson's desk. Inside is a letter on bank letterhead. She is placed on administrative leave, pending review of unauthorized data access related to the Westerville branch. Her keycard is disabled as she reads the letter. She photographs the letter with her phone before security walks her out. She does it calmly, while the security officer politely looks at the wall. At 12:31 the same day, a letter arrives at Malcolm Turner's home address. Overnight envelope. Return address, a law firm he has never heard of. The letter is signed by a managing partner on behalf of a concerned shareholder group. It is 2 paragraphs. The first paragraph expresses concern over the direction of recent internal inquiries and suggests Mr. Turner consider the reputational implications of public statements that might be construed as disparaging to the institution he built. The second paragraph is shorter. It reminds Mr. Turner that shareholder groups have standing to request board reviews of executive conduct, up to and including fitness for continued service. Malcolm reads the letter twice. He does not smile. He does not frown. He folds it in thirds and places it in the same drawer where he keeps his wife's obituary. Through counsel, when asked later by the Ohio Ledger, Gregory Walsh issues a statement. Mr. Walsh denies any knowledge of a quota program and states that the alert productivity standard is, quote, standard risk hygiene consistent with industry best practices, end quote. He declines further comment pending internal review. That evening, Claire calls Malcolm from a number he does not recognize. "They suspended me." "I know. I saw the filing. There's something you need to know about the laminated card under Bishop's keyboard." "Go on." "It's not Bishop's creation. It's a branch-level reference sheet, stamped and distributed from Walsh's office last spring. Title on the card is Risk Behavior Cues, Desk Reference. 7 of the 11 flagged branches have the card. The 3 that don't have the card also have the lowest SAR filing rates." Malcolm does not answer for a long time. The silence on the line is not empty. It is the silence of a man who has just watched a personal insult become a systemic one. "Claire." "Yes, I need 48 hours. "For what?" "I need Brooks to publish, and I need one more receipt." "What receipt?" "I don't know yet, but I think there's one we haven't found." Down the line, Heather Bishop takes personal leave. Her social media accounts go private within 6 hours. A statement, through her attorney, is in draft but not yet released. Malcolm puts the phone down. His hand stays on it. The next morning, Malcolm does not go to the office. He does not go home. He drives to a parking structure on the south side of downtown, the 4th level, the corner space he has parked in for 23 years. He turns off the engine. He sits. The dashboard clock reads 10:18. He does not open the windows. He does not turn on the radio. He listens to the engine tick as it cools. He listens to a pigeon on the concrete railing outside the window. He listens to his own breathing. He takes out his phone. There is a voicemail from his daughter, Alicia. She left it 2 days ago. He has not opened it. He opens it now. "Hi, Dad. I saw the news. I know you're fine. I wanted to leave this so you could hear a voice that isn't a lawyer's. Mom used to say you don't have to win loudly. I think she was right about that. I also think she would have told you to win anyway. So, win. Okay? Love you." A pause. "Dad, you did not raise me to sit down, so do not sit down." The voicemail ends. Malcolm sits in the car for a long time. He thinks about the letter in the drawer. He thinks about Claire walking out of her office with her key card in a plastic bag. He thinks about Rebecca Moore, who he barely knew 48 hours ago, typing a draft email at a kitchen table and not sending it. He thinks about the hundreds of tellers in 83 branches who have never picked up a phone to call the police on a customer, and who now get to live under a news cycle that doesn't know their names. He thinks about the cost. He thinks about whether he has the right to extract it. The doubt is not loud. It is quiet. It is a long sentence in the middle of a quiet room, and it asks him whether a man who has walked into 83 branches pretending not to be the owner has the moral authority to now be the owner when the receipts come due, or whether he should instead find a quieter door and close it behind him and let the lawyers do their work in paper. He sits with the doubt. He does not push it away. The dashboard clock advances 1 minute, then another. He thinks of his father, laying brick in Akron in a January wind. His father had a phrase he used when a job got hard. "You finish the wall. You don't argue with the wall." Malcolm hears the phrase now in his father's voice, the way he heard it when he was 6, and again when he was 16, and he understands it, for the first time, as a sentence about courage. He opens his notebook. The page is blank. He writes one line in careful block letters. The board. Thursday. He underlines it once. Not twice. Once. He closes the notebook. He calls Jonathan Brooks. "Brooks, it's Turner. Publish tomorrow morning." "Not yet. I need one more source." "You have 48 hours. If you need more, tell me who and I'll get them on the phone." "I need Rebecca Moore." "I'll call her." "Mr. Turner." "Yes." "Are you okay?" Malcolm looks at the concrete ceiling above his windshield. He listens to the pigeon. He watches the dashboard clock advance 1 more minute. "I'm still here." "That's not what I asked." "I know. That's the answer I have." He hangs up. He starts the car. He drives home the long way, through a neighborhood he and his wife used to walk on Sunday mornings when Alicia was small, and everything they owned fit in 2 suitcases and a used station wagon. At a red light, a boy on a bicycle glances into the driver's window, raises a hand, and waves. Malcolm waves back. The light turns green. He folds the notebook into his jacket pocket. He calls Brooks one more time. At 6:41 the next morning, the Ohio Ledger publishes online. Headline: Inside First Heritage, the quota behind the calls. Byline: Jonathan Brooks. 8 sources, 4 documents. 1 named eyewitness, Rebecca Moore, branch manager, Westerville. 2 unnamed compliance sources. A quote from a retired federal examiner who reads the memo and calls it, on the record, structurally indistinguishable from a production floor. The piece is measured. It is sourced. It does not call anyone a racist. It lets the document speak, and it lets Rebecca Moore's 7-month email trail speak, and it lets the silence from Walsh's office speak. By 8:15, the article has 400,000 reads. By 10, it has 1 million. By noon, it is the top shared piece on 3 aggregators. At 9:02, a line forms outside the Westerville branch. Not a protest, no signs, no chants, depositors. Customers in cardigans and work jackets and Sunday blouses. They stand on the sidewalk with their deposit slips in their hands and they wait their turn like any other Tuesday. Mrs. Delaney is first in line. She arrived at 6:30 with a thermos of coffee and a folding chair. She places a small cloth envelope on the counter at 9:04 and says, clearly, to a new teller who is not Heather Bishop, "I have banked here since 1986. I would like to keep doing that, if we clean this up." Behind her, a young man in a delivery uniform deposits his whole paycheck. Behind him, a woman in a nurse's scrubs opens a new checking account. Behind her, an older couple asks to speak to the manager, politely, to say thank you for staying. 3 blocks away, at the steps of Grace Fellowship, Pastor Elijah Brown speaks at a neighborhood gathering. He does not raise his voice. He says one line that gets carried on local news by sundown. A wrong number dialed at 911 does not make the emergency real. It makes the caller the emergency. By 11, the Ohio State banking regulator opens a preliminary review of SAR filing anomalies at First Heritage. A spokesperson will not confirm the number of branches under review. The spokesperson does confirm, on background, that the review is not limited to Westerville. By 1, 3 members of the First Heritage Board of Directors place independent calls to the General Counsel. They want an emergency session. They want it before the weekend. They want it closed door, on the record, with the minutes preserved. By 3, Rebecca Moore calls Malcolm on a number he does not recognize. "Mr. Turner." "Ms. Moore, I do not want your forgiveness." "Ms. Moore, please let me finish. I do not want your forgiveness. I do not deserve it yet. I want a seat at the board meeting. I want to testify on the record. I want to say out loud what I said in those emails 7 months ago, and I want it to be heard by people who cannot pretend they didn't hear it." Malcolm does not answer for a beat. "You'll have the seat." "Thank you." "Ms. Moore." "Yes." "When we get inside that room, do not apologize to me. Speak to the record." "Yes, sir." The call ends. Outside the Westerville branch, the line is still there. It is longer now. A reporter counts 61 people. A cameraman from a second outlet sets up quietly across the street, and no one tells him to leave. The board meets Thursday. And there is one more document Malcolm has not yet seen. Let me ask you something. That line of 61 people, it isn't a hero moment. It's the moment most of us fail. When the story breaks, at your bank, your office, your neighborhood, do you stand or do you stay quiet? Drop it in the comments. I'm not judging. I'm asking, because the next part depends on the answer. Wednesday night, Malcolm's kitchen table, a thin folder between them. Claire sets it down and slides it across the wood with 2 fingers. I pulled dispatch logs from Westerville PD. 19 months back. The department cooperates with public records requests because they're under a consent decree on a separate matter, and their records officer likes me. What am I looking at? 3 prior 911 calls. Same branch, same caller. Malcolm opens the folder. The first page is a call summary. Date, March 9th, last year. Caller, Bishop, H., Westerville Branch, First Heritage Bank. Subject, unknown male, black, approximately 65, inquiring about pension check deposit. Caller states subject refuses to leave and is, quote, asking too many questions. Responding officer, Morrison. Disposition, resolved. No further action. The subject, Claire says, was a retired postal worker named in a follow-up report only as Mr. Ellis, age 65. He left the branch with his deposit receipt and no apology. His daughter posted about it on a neighborhood forum 3 days later. The post got 4 replies and died. The second page. Date, June 22nd. Caller, Bishop, H. Subject, unknown female, black, approximately 25, cashing a payroll check. Caller states subject is, quote, evasive and inconsistent. Responding officer, Hayes. Disposition, resolved. Subject detained in lobby 12 minutes pending verification. No further action. The subject was a nursing student named only as Ms. Carter, age 24. She cashed her check. She did not come back. The third page. Date, November 4th. Caller, Bishop, H. Subject, unknown male, black, approximately 40, attempting to open a vendor account. Caller states subject is, quote, asking questions he shouldn't be asking. Responding officers, Reed, Hayes. Disposition, resolved. Subject released after supervisor confirmed paperwork in order. No further action. The subject was a small business owner named only as Mr. Reyes Coleman, age 42. He opened the account. He closed it 6 weeks later. 3 pages. 3 calls. 3 phrases, almost identical, pulled from the same laminated card under the same keyboard. Too many questions. Refuses to leave. Evasive. Inconsistent. It was not a bad day, Malcolm says. No. It was a script. Yes. And Reed knew. He knew. That's what Hayes was muttering on Tuesday morning. We've been here before. Malcolm closes the folder. Claire, did any of the 3 file a complaint with the bank? Miss Carter tried. Her complaint was logged as a customer service issue and closed within 72 hours. The other 2 didn't know they could. Did any of them get an apology? No. Do we know where they are now? I have addresses for all 3. None of them know we've pulled their records. I haven't contacted them. That's your call. Malcolm nods once. We write to all 3, personally, before the board meeting. We tell them what we found. We apologize. We offer whatever they want and let them tell us what that is. We do it before a single word of this goes into the boardroom tomorrow. The apology precedes the vote, not the other way around. Yes, sir. Claire, one more thing. Yes, every figure in this file, and every figure you've shown me this week, the filing counts, the loan denial overlays, the dispatch logs, all of it is going to get dramatized later. By reporters, by people who want a cleaner story. I want you to remember, and I want Brooks to remember, that the composite is always smaller than the reality. We are not exaggerating. We are rounding down. Claire nods. She does not speak. Outside the kitchen window, a streetlight flickers once. Malcolm writes 3 names on a sheet of paper. Ellis, Carter, Reyes Coleman. He underlines them once. Not twice. Once. Thursday morning, boardroom, 9 a.m. The 12th floor of the corporate headquarters. No press, no cameras. A long walnut table, 9 directors. A pitcher of water no one pours from. The soft creak of leather chairs. The click of bench microphones, one by one, as each director settles in. Gregory Walsh sits at the head. Margaret Sullivan, lead independent director, sits to his left. Thomas Whitaker, general counsel, sits at the foot of the table with a bound folder he does not open. Malcolm is not at the head. He sits 2 chairs down from Sullivan. He has placed his leather portfolio flat on the wood in front of him. Inside it, 3 envelopes, sealed and stamped and mailed that morning to 3 addresses he has never visited. Rebecca Moore sits in the visitor's chair against the wall. She has a single sheet of paper in her lap. She does not look at it. Walsh opens. Good morning. The board has convened at the request of 3 independent directors to review the events of the past week. General counsel will take minutes. I remind members that the discussion is privileged until the board votes otherwise. Sullivan taps her microphone once. Mr. Turner has asked to present first. Objections? Silence. Proceed. Malcolm does not stand. He speaks from his seat, level, measured. He names the quota. He reads 2 lines from the Alert Productivity Standard Memo out loud, the lines that establish minimum filings and the bonus multiplier. He names the 256 filings at Westerville alone over 6 quarters. He names the loan denial overlay and the 3 branches that spike. Then he opens the thinner folder Claire brought him Wednesday night. 3 calls, he says. Before mine. He plays 60 seconds of audio. Redacted. The callers' voices are clear. The subjects' voices are not played at all. Malcolm has chosen deliberately to preserve the dignity of the three people Bishop called on. He plays only the phrases from the caller side. Too many questions. Refuses to leave. Asking questions he shouldn't be asking. 3 times. Same voice. 11 months apart. The room is still. Walsh tries to speak. Sullivan raises one finger, 2 inches off the table, and he stops. Malcolm continues. He names the laminated card. He names the branch-level distribution from Walsh's office last spring. He names the 7 branches that have the card and the 3 that do not, and the correlation with filing rates. He closes the folder. He slides it toward the center of the table. He does not push it all the way. Ms. Moore. Rebecca stands. She walks to the podium at the side of the room. She does not read from her sheet. 7 months ago, I escalated a pattern I had observed at my branch. My email was acknowledged. No action was taken. I escalated again 3 months later. My email was acknowledged. No action was taken. On Tuesday morning, one of my tellers called 911 on a customer for asking a question. That customer turned out to be the owner of this company. I want the record to show that the call would have been wrong if the customer had been no one at all. She sits down. Walsh clears his throat. Through counsel, I want to note for the record that the alert productivity standard is consistent with industry best practice, and that any allegation of a quota is, in my view, a mischaracterization. The board should consider the shareholder view before acting hastily. Sullivan looks at him for a long moment. We already have, Gregory. Through counsel, the board notes for the record that Ms. Bishop, who declined to appear, has issued a written statement via her attorney stating that she followed protocol as trained. The motion is put. The vote is called. 6-3. Memo rescinded. Gregory Walsh removed as chair, pending independent review. Board-supervised fair lending audit ordered across all 83 branches under the supervision of an external firm to be named by Sullivan within 5 business days. Claire Anderson reinstated with back pay. Rebecca Moore confirmed in her role with a probationary plan she will write herself, reviewed by Anderson. 3 directors voted with Walsh. The record does not name them here, but it names them in the minutes, and the minutes will become public in 90 days. Malcolm closes his portfolio. He does not smile. Sullivan leans toward her microphone. Meeting adjourned. Malcolm stands. He has one more thing to do, and it is not in this building. 24 days later. Same blue jacket, same leather portfolio. Malcolm walks through the revolving door of the Westerville branch. The guard, who now knows his name, says, "Good morning, Mr. Turner." Malcolm says, "Good morning, Ray." Heather Bishop is not behind the counter. The laminated cards are gone from every workstation. Rebecca Moore removed them herself on the Friday the board voted. A new teller, a young woman whose name tag reads Amanda, looks up and says clearly, "Good morning. How can I help you?" Malcolm sets his portfolio down. He asks the second question. "Can you tell me how your monthly fee waivers work?" Amanda answers, fully, without hesitation. She does not glance at a card under her keyboard because the card is no longer there. She offers to print him the terms. He accepts. He folds the sheet into his portfolio. He walks out the same revolving door he walked in through 24 days ago. The phone at window 1 sits in its cradle. It does not ring. No one is above the law. Not the customer in the blue jacket, not the teller, not the owner. Not even the people who think they write it. If this mattered to you, leave a comment with the word receipt and tell me who in your life deserves one. Stay with me for the next story. The next receipt is already in the mail.